What's up, YouTube? So here's Garrison's, I guess, Scapeshift Field of the Dead deck. That's what we called it. So the idea of this deck is to play lands, Scapeshift on the opponent's turn, hopefully, and make... What's your record? How many zombies have you made in one shot?
I made
40?
30. Oh, I think I did make 41 turn. One Scapeshift.
Yeah.
I think I made more than that, maybe in
a
the
game.
total. In the total turn, like
Gotcha.
cast a couple and then.
All right, so we'll go over the deck list real quick. So we've got 4 Arboreal.
Nope, 3.
3. Man, it's not, I think everything's a 4. So 3 Arboreal Grazers, 4 Growth Spirals, 4 Scapeshifts, 3 Drawn from Dreams, 3 Grow from Ashes, 4 Elvish Rejuvenators, 4 Risen Reefs, 4 Circuitous Route, 4 to Fairy Time Raveler, and then we got lands over here. So there's a lot of like 1s and 2s of. So we got a Plains and Island, an Azorius Guildgate, 2 Simic Guildgates, 4 Field of the Dead, 1 Sun Petal Grove, 1 Glacial Fortress, 1 Hinterland Harbor, 1 Tranquil Cove, 1 Blossoming Sands, 1 Celestia Guildgate, 3 Forests, 2 Temple of Mystery, 2 Hallowed Fountain, 1 Temple Garden, and 4 Breeding Pools. So obviously the deck is built around Field of the Dead. So we'll go over cards, I guess, starting towards me. So the 3 Arboreal Grazers.
Yeah,
Talk about him.
He's a great one drop. Like Breeding Pool, shock it into play, Arboreal Grazer, and then any tap land that you have, so that on turn 2 you can play a 3-drop. You really want to be playing a 3-drop on turn 2 and on turn 3.
Okay.
If you can.
So then we've got 4 Growth Spirals, obviously just a way to ramp and draw a card.
Yep.
We've got, I guess we'll talk Elvish Rejuvenator next. So,
Like just a simple fact that like you look at the top 5 and you put a land into play tapped. So generally there's a land somewhere in the top 5, and I think it's better on 2 and 3. He's way better than Risen Reef because you want to get to that. You want to get that
your
mana
land
ball.
count up.
Yeah, you want to get it rolling. It's very mana hungry deck.
Yep. And then we'll talk about Risen Reef too. Yeah. So early game, you don't really want to play the Rejuvenator over the Risen Reef.
Yeah.
Early game. And then obviously Risen Reef is a ridiculously good card that's seeing a lot of play already. And obviously it snowballs when you have multiples in play.
Yep. Oddly enough, though, like the weakest card out of the entire deck, like I almost feel like is Risen Reef. Yeah. Yeah. So it's very, very.
Now, one thing that we did get a comment on the pre-release videos, Risen Reef does not reveal the card to your opponent. So if it's a land, you can put it into play. If not, it goes in your hand. So you don't actually have to put the land into play either. You can sandbag it just to bluff your opponent if you want to.
And it's actually it's relevant if you have 6 lands in play and you have a land in hand that makes a 7th. If you play the Risen Reef and that happens to be a duplicate, you can put that into your hand
and play the 7th.
The 7th land, and then that saves you. It gives you a 2/2 for later in the game.
Yep.
So
good card. Apparently it's the weakest link in this deck.
Potentially.
So, yeah. So then we've got a couple ramp spells. We got Grow from the Ashes and Circuitous Route. So Grow from the Ashes is interesting because they come into play untapped, correct?
Yep.
And it is basics only.
Yep.
So, you have to remember that there's only 5 basics in the deck list, so it can be a little awkward.
Generally, the first Grow from Ashes, if you don't have a forest, I found that you just immediately fetch for 2 forests.
Yeah.
Because then it leaves 1 of every basic in your deck and turns on the fields.
Yep. And then Circuitous Route, again, searches for basics or gates.
Yep.
So that's why there's several gates. And how many gates do we have total?
4.
4 total gates.
Yep.
So, again, these get worse in redundancy, but you really want to hit one of these spells on, turn 3 or 4, basically. Which is why there's 7 of them in the deck.
Yeah, Circuitous Route on 3 or 4 if you're ramping a little bit. Grow from the Ashes, you almost always want to kick it if you can.
So 4.
Yeah, so if you get to 6, 6 lands in play, kicking Grow from the Ashes if you have the Field of Dead.
You just grab.
If you can find, number 7 and 8, you can make 2 zombies off of it.
Yep.
So.
And then we've got Teferi Time Raveler. Obviously a good card, sees a lot of play. What is it doing here for you?
Allowing us to cast Scapeshift on our opponent's turn.
Wow.
Yeah. This actually, it's great because normally you get a lot of tempo off Teferi. We play the Teferi and you bounce something to draw the card because everybody wants to have the extra card. And then I feel like 9 times out of 10, Teferi hits the battlefield and you just plus him.
You just want him to stay on the battlefield.
Yep, that's all you want. Yep. So.
And then we've got 3 dig through times here.
Yeah. No, they're drawn from dreams.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was dig through time. Oh, you're right. It costs 4 mana, not 2.
Yeah. Yep.
and it's a sorcery unless you have Teferi in play. So this is just digging for the Scapeshift, which is the next card we'll talk about.
Yep.
So looks at the top 7, and you put 2 in your hand. Teferi lets you play it on your opponent's turn.
It also has your opponent not interact.
Correct. Yeah, they can't counter it or something because you're casting it in
very,
speed.
very
and
relevant.
Teferi makes it so they can't counter it. Or I think I just said it weird,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. And then we've got 4 Scapeshifts. So if you've watched a lot of our old videos and you've been following the channel for a while, Garrison plays Scapeshift as one of his modern decks.
Yep.
So he gets to play it in standard. It's not using Valakut. It's using the Field of the Dead.
But it's another land.
It's basically the same. Same combo. You're making 2/2s instead of shooting them.
Yeah, I think the least number of zombies I made today was like 16.
Yeah.
And that was in the last round, but normally it's like 20 something is I think the average. So.
All right, so there's really not a whole lot to talk about in the main deck,
other than the fact that like Scapeshift's sacrifice ability.
Oh yeah, so we should point that out. So like you don't sacrifice the lands as part of the casting cost. It's when the spell resolves. So if they counter it, it's not a big deal. And
you just go find the second one.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. Well, and like you saw in game 1 against me, you didn't even cast a Scapeshift. You just made zombies, and I didn't have a way to deal with them.
Yeah,
so
Field
like,
of the Dead allows every card here.
Yeah, you top deck a land, it's actually just a free 2/2.
Yeah.
And like this card seems absurdly powerful to me after playing it because 1, you can't interact with a land drop, and 2, like it's just a free 2/2 that you can't really counter. Like it's a ridiculously good card.
Yeah. I think it'd be
I was
playable if it didn't add mana also. Like
if it's a land didn't add mana, sure. But like I'm over here thinking of things to kind of like combat this deck, and Alpine Moon is the best I can come up with.
Yeah.
And that's really just okay. I mean, it shuts down a lot of the deck, and like you'd have to win with 1/1s, but like
the only thing I've really seen that's like played is there's a Salthead Dredulus that buys back the 7 mana guy that like steals a permanent, and
they take your Field.
They stole my Field of the Dead.
But like, so who's playing that card in standard? Not too many people.
Yeah.
So like, if that's the best thing that they're doing against you, I feel like they're losing to everything else.
Yeah.
So we'll go over the sideboard. So we've got 3 Tameo, Collector of Tales, 2 Negates, 2 Sammets, the Tyrant Smasher. There's other versions of Sammet, right? Yeah. 4 Root Snares, 3 Veil of Summer, 1 Graft Digger's Cage, and we have 6 foil zombie tokens.
Double-sided zombies.
Yeah. So, they're actually zombies on both sides.
Yes.
Cool. So obviously we're putting in things like Veil of Summer and Negate.
So I want to point out
against control.
I played 4 rounds, which ended up being 9 games total, and I never sideboarded once. So I didn't make the list. I didn't make the deck. Anna May came up with the deck, and
Twitch streamer.
Twitch streamer, very good player, and like she made the comment that like you can play this deck in a best of 1 on Arena. You could also play this deck in a best of 3, and never make a sideboard change. I feel like anytime you're gonna put something from the sideboard into the deck,
there's just nothing to pull out.
There's nothing to pull out, and it just makes the deck so much weaker. Now, if you're playing like a lot of mono red, I guess, but
you could run Root Snares.
Yeah,
to buy some time. But like, I guess if I was playing, I don't think we had anyone playing Control today. So like Veil of Summer to like protect your Scapeshift would make sense to me.
Yeah. I guess there's definitely some things you could do.
I don't even know if I'd run the Negates against Control.
Yeah, I just don't like. The deck is so good.
Yeah, I think like if you're gonna be sideboarding, you're pulling out probably some number of Risen Reefs, because like you said, that's the worst card in the deck, which is funny to say. Or maybe Arboreal Grazer. You didn't need it against me at all because you never played it against me.
I did need it against Sarah though.
Okay.
I won game 3
against the aggro deck.
Yeah, because like turn 1,
blocks.
take 2, and then be able to put that additional land and block their creature was really good.
So like you're probably, if you're sideboarding, you're only pulling out like 1, 2, maybe 3 cards, and I think the 3 is a stretch for the Veil of Summer. Like, I don't think you pull out 4 for 4 copies of Root Snare.
No, I could see potentially play like you pull out a Scapeshift or like a Drawn from Dreams if you're playing against
mono red.
Mono red, yeah,
where you just need to live.
And like the original iteration of the deck that was made, she was playing 3 Sammets over the 3 Drawn from Dreams, just so that in case you came up against Esper is a real deck too.
Yeah.
That plays Teferi.
You need to kill it.
You need to win on your turn when you hit it. So being able to slam the Sammet with your Teferi in play, and then Scapeshift to kill them on your turn was relevant. But I
Okay.
agree that the Drawn from Dreams is just better in the deck than the Samet was. It's very clunky because
If you don't need it and you draw it.
then you have nothing to do. It
Right.
just scries.
Yep.
And it makes your like Arboreal Grazer a 2/4.
sure.
That's not attacking.
Right.
So.
All right. So yeah, we did a little bit different now that we're getting these promo packs for FNM. So if you follow us on Facebook, you will have seen my post. Basically, if you go undefeated, you're getting a foil premium pack, and Garrison went undefeated tonight. And then there's store credit for undefeateds, and then 3-1 players get a promo pack, not foil, which I somehow went 3-1. Garrison was my loss tonight. So Garrison's gonna open this premium pack.
Let's hope for something super sweet. Gotta be really careful
Because it could be a Liliana that's Japanese, and you might bend it in half.
that's foil, right? Because they're all foil?
They're all foil in that pack.
So, be careful. So, first, there's a foil forest.
You'll notice they've got the Planeswalker symbol
Yep.
on them.
And then, so we have a foil
Tender
Shoot
Shoot
Dryad.
Okay. Nice
Foil
disfigure.
Promo Disfigure. And foil Knight of the Ebon Legion. Ebon
Ebon.
Legion. Yep. So, not as good as I had hoped for.
All
here,
right, so
but,
let's open this one. We'll see what we get here. So, I got an island. So that's already pretty good. It's the best card in Magic.
Yep.
I got a Tillinally's Summoner. A Flame Sweep.
Oh, yeah, slow roll it.
I am...
And a Dungeon Guy.
It's like my 14th copy of Dungeon Geist.
Yep.
All right, so that is the deck.
Yep.
I will post the lists, not tonight because it's late and we're getting up early to go to Detroit. So the list will be posted later this weekend.
Apologize for round 3.
So we're missing a video for round 3 because Garrison didn't plug the camera into the power.
It made it 2 rounds, okay?
So the
And
battery died halfway through the round and made
I'm sorry,
a video
everybody.
of nothing.
I'm sorry.
So that's that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.